I am going to eat this little Chinese boy.
Wuyang, Wuyang, Wuyang. What isn't there to say about him? The dude's been meta ever since he came out at the start of this season, and it's for very good reasons. Not only is his healing output amazing, but his damage output is insane, being one of the highest damaging primary fires in the game at 100 damage per charged shot. Whilst yes, he did receive a nerf in the mid-season patch, changing Rushing Torrent's cooldown from 7 to 8 seconds and Guardian Wave's healing amplification duration from 4 to 3 seconds, with the cooldown being increased from 12 to 14 seconds, this wasn't enough to stop the Wuyang uprising. Simply put, he's so strong that a tiny change like this is barely even noticeable because A, his damage went completely untouched, and B, his healing output is still really good regardless of these changes. So what's up with Wuyang and what needs to be done to make him a balanced character? Well, there's a few things that make him extremely strong. One of these things I've already mentioned, and that's his damage output. You might be thinking to yourself, if he's that much of a problem, just dive him on Tracer and get him out of the fight fast. But you'd be surprised at how difficult this actually is. Since his damage on a charged shot is 100, that leaves Tracer really vulnerable if she gets hit once, meaning she has to use all of her cooldowns to try and secure one singular kill, because going in to dive a Wuyang takes a bit more thought than diving any other support. With someone like Ana or Kiri, you can usually just come up behind them and one-clip them, granted they don't use Nade or Suzu. But with Wuyang, if he turns around for even a split second, you're instantly at under half health. Whilst yes, Kiriko can practically one-tap Tracer with a crisp kunai to the head, it's a bit harder to hit because her projectile size isn't that big, whilst Wuyang's projectile size might as well be a tractor with how easy it is to hit most enemies. Yes, the travel speed isn't great, but the fact you can control his shots and get a nice flick on them at the end of their travel is huge and shouldn't be taken for granted because there's no other hero that can do this. And that's what makes him stand out from the rest of the support lineup. Saying a character in Overwatch is unique is like saying ice is cold, but in the case of Wuyang, he's genuinely one of the most unique characters to come out in a while because he can control his charged shots to arc them around corners and in the air at flying enemies, making him a threat to literally anyone, anywhere, at all times. Since he can just dump his healing on whoever needs it, like Zen, he can spend the rest of the game focusing on dealing a bunch of burst damage to whoever needs to be taken out of the fight first. Generally speaking, it's the supports at the back, which he can easily get by curving his shots over the front line. Yeah, it's kinda dumb how you can take gross angles and get away with it 9 times out of 10, because the enemy team has to use every single cooldown to win the fight against him. But he can easily get out by healing himself with Guardian Wave and escaping with Rushing Torrent. Not only is he a slippery little shit, he's a slippery little shit that doesn't die when played properly. If I were to compare him to anything we've seen before, I'd say he's like Kiri when she was in her prime. You remember that era where she was doing way too much damage and couldn't die because she just Suzu and TP away? That's kind of what we're seeing with Wuyang at the minute, because whilst Torrent isn't as crazy broken as TP, it still gets him out of sticky situations 9 times out of 10 if you're not playing a hero that can chase him down. But, as I mentioned before, chasing him down on Tracer can be a bit of a pain in the ass because he has the range and damage output over you. Meaning the optimal way to chase him down is by playing a hero like Winston or Reaper that have that survivability without having to use every single cooldown. The other way to counter him is just playing ranged heroes like Widow or Hanzo that can take him out with a few shots, if not one shot, essentially playing him at his own game. But that just about does it for this video. Now, we all know how much of a menace Wuyang is at the moment, but the question is, what should Blizzard do to make him feel more balanced? Just flat out nerfing his damage isn't the best idea because we need to factor in things like it has charge, it has channeling, etc, etc. So, I think the best thing they could do is make the travel time a little bit faster, but tweak the size of his projectile and slightly scale the damage down. I'm not asking for anything massive, maybe like 80 damage instead of 100 damage on a direct hit from a charged shot. I can't think of a much better nerf to his damage than that because, like I said before, you have to factor in multiple things when talking about his damage because his primary fire isn't as straightforward as heroes like Ana or Kiri. As for his healing, I think it's fine as it is. Sure, Guardian Wave is strong as hell, but it's honestly no different to an Ana nade. Plus, his primary healing isn't amazing, being easily outdamaged by most of the DPS lineup. All he really needs is a damage nerf. Keep his healing how it is currently and it will be a hell of a lot more balanced because at the minute, it feels like I'm fighting a Junkrat who can heal. He's a support. No support should be able to do this much damage, period.